What do you mean, theater of the mind? We have this lovely face to look at that sets the mood perfectly.
Or are you even showing the map on the stream?
Nope.
That's probably wise.
Wait,
The map is not a place of honor. No
There's
great
maps?
deeds are commemorated there.
oh, you're talking about on the face on Roll20.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I learned a while ago not to trust you misfits.
That's what you're trying to say.
We use Roll20 mainly for dice rolling and character sheets. In
That's
this
pretty
game.
good at that.
You know
The
what?
rest-
That's what I'm missing. I need to get into Roll20.
Oh, it's amateur hour around here, apparently.
We were discussing the finer points of economic well-being.
Yes.
So our, unfortunately, our feline friend Shewn will not be with us. We wish him safe travel. He's currently out of state for business.
It's long while, yeah.
All right, that really threw me off. I have serene scape, and I start hearing birds. I was like, it's night. Why are there birds? All right.
Oh, yeah. I suppose I should open that up too, so I can hear all your sound effects.
If you'd like, I can.
If you need to be spooked by birds too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spook me.
Let me know when you're in, and I'll restart it.
I'm in.
All right. So where the party last left off, we're in a little bit of a, I don't know. You guys weren't really bickering, but kind of bickering.
Oh, we were in a multi-directional bind.
That's
The
a good way to
universe
put
was
it.
conspiring to place pressure on Terry.
I want a rich friend.
Yeah.
Badly.
So,
Where we left off, Mike, Terry, Gillard, and Morgana were in her shop, Big Easy Enchantment. Morgana had placed a glamour on Terry and had hidden him. Mike is threatening to knock off one of the mandrakes because he really wants Terry to, like, befriend Gillard. Gillard is looking for Terry to, go have a nice dinner with him, but Terry is trying to stay hidden.
Of course.
And at the very moment we last stop, a man who I've decided is actually named Gucci Rasputin walked into the shop.
That is an
Beard
excellent-
down to here, designer jeans.
flannel.
This man is Gucci Rasputin, and he apparently can see Mike.
That is the name
Ah.
we should have gone with.
That is. I don't know. I'm still partial to his name. If anyone bothers to ask it, we will find out. But everyone's kind of in the corner of the shop bickering. Prim, you set the scene really well. But Gucci Rasputin, it's just you hear ding, the door opens, you hear it shut, and you see Gucci Rasputin standing there. He kind of looks up at Mike, says, "That's odd," and then looks at the rest of the group, kind of shakes his head and says, well, hello.
Welcome to Big Easy Enchantments. I am Morgana. How may I help you?
I was told I could find a particular gentleman. He visits here frequently. His name's Freddy.
Freddy unfortunately has been gone for quite a while. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Do you know do you know where you can maybe find him?
Usually I can, but I haven't seen him in a while nor heard from him.
Oh.
And usually he's a lot better at keeping me up on these things.
I'm going to start circling him. Slowly, kind of looking him up and down.
Harry was frozen in like a beseeching posture, and when Mike starts to float off, he puts his hands back down, looks at the guy, and he's just frozen.
Interestingly enough, he doesn't acknowledge you, Terry.
Perfect.
But you do kind of notice while he is talking to Morgana, his eyes just kind of follow Mike around the room. Like he's not acknowledging him, but you just see his eyes kind of keep flickering over to where he's at. And he is a little distracted, Morgana. You do notice that. But he seems frazzled that Freddy's not here, and he's kind of worried, and he looks and says, do you know any way of reaching him? It's extremely important. Quite frankly, I think his life's at risk.
Ooh. Well, I have a vested interest in looking into this myself then, if his life is at risk, but unfortunately I haven't been able to contact him through any of the usual means, so unfortunately we're both out of luck.
Oh my.
One usually is when it comes to finding him.
He kind of jumps back and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you were there."
Didn't notice me?
Yeah.
That's rare.
Why is that rare?
Clearly, you have no idea who you're dealing with.
No. My name's John.
Should we actually do introductions? Because I'm a 1%er. I'm wealthy. People don't know I'm wealthy. Like, am I crazy here?
Like, are you Trump level wealthy, or?
I'm a 1%er. I don't know what how else to put that.
Do you know all of
who
the
I
rich
am, right?
people in
Like-
your town?
I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I know probably 3, and I know there's a few dozen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 1%ers don't want to know me.
I don't know. Maybe it's the I'm wealthy from my own exploits type of deal, and maybe they don't know everything. But I thought
No,
that would be well known.
You're like, that is the 1%er attitude. I mean, that's the perfect attitude. You don't know me?
Do I need to introduce
Right.
myself?
Do I really need to do this? Like, so I'm trying something new here with Gillard. I don't know if you noticed. I'm trying to speak in a lower vocal register when I'm in character.
I wish you luck
can
with
tell
it.
the difference.
No,
You can tell the
it's
difference because I'm very animated and high pitched a little bit more.
See,
So
we
hopefully
can't
you can
tell
tell
that
the
you're
switch.
animated because you're not on cam.
Yeah, that's the
no.
problem. What to do?
That is a problem.
I talk with my hands. Bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi.
Yeah, no. My hands are busy taking notes. So it's gonna be a lot of me looking down.
Mike has done something. You may want to check the chat.
I can't.
Yeah,
check
I
the chat.
see. I see, but I don't see.
I can't.
I don't
check.
see anything.
I
know
don't
what you
have 4 monitors like you guys.
mean. Slacker.
Don't be jealous.
I've only got 2 monitors, and my second monitor is disturbing to all who see it.
Get you your curved screen game on.
All right, Church, explain to me what you're doing.
Oh, well, I'm phasing to where my face is just a little bit past his, like through the back and then out. So my face
John.
is sticking, like superimposed
But I can't
over
see
his.
this.
And every time he talks, I'm just going.
So,
I'm so glad I can't see that. I'm so glad.
are you trying to invoke a response from anyone?
I'm trying to
Me.
make Terry laugh.
So I guess I'll introduce myself to this new John person. John, what's your last name?
Garfinkel.
Well,
John
Mr. Garfinkel,
Garfinkel.
I'm
No,
Gillard Smythe.
no. Garfinkel.
Garfinkel.
Yes.
Garfinkel. Okay,
Yes.
I see why you like his name.
Perfect.
great. I'll keep that in mind.
Emphasis on the
Ing.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it spelled NG?
Yes, it is.
I'm glad somebody got that. Just like Mike's name.
Quite nice.
So,
I'm
one
sure.
moment. We'll get back to the RP side of it. But, Mike, are you trying to compel Terry?
To laugh?
Yeah.
Always.
All right. So here's how we're gonna go about this. Let me open up. Roll you know what? Roll flare.
Oh, gee, it would be. Well, you got a good shot here, Terry. Flare's your game.
I should have a very good shot, actually, because you tell me if you think this would apply. One of my stunts might cost me a fate point, so I might not waste it, but I'm curious about your ruling anyways. I can gain a +2 to defending any outside mental influence for the duration of a scene.
You would have to burn one of your points.
The fate point.
Yep.
But would it
whenever
apply in
you-
this situation?
I'd say. And it's
All right,
not like
I'm going to
mind
roll
control,
standard against it,
But... Okay.
but I wanted to know.
Yeah, I
You still
really
got a
like
good
something
shot.
like that.
You still got a good
What do
shot.
I roll you? Flare, focus? What you feeling?
You just roll the 4 fate.
Just 4 fate?
Yep.
He gets me.
Oh my god.
Oh,
He gets me good.
That is
Oh, rip.
painful. Ooh.
So
Oh,
with that, Morgana's
Beautiful.
glamour just fades. And
Terry's been under such stress.
Terry, you just, between being chased by these thugs you don't know, the stress of Mike and the mandrakes, and this magic being cast on you that you've never experienced before, you just break and start laughing.
What?
Everyone
Out of
in
the
now
corner of
sees
my
Straight
eye.
up.
Out of the corner of my eye, I can
I'm-
see him there now, and I'm like,
I'm doubled over, just looking straight at my shoes, and sometimes I look back up and I see Mike's face on Gucci Rasputin,
what?
and I just go back down again.
Where'd he come from?
Yeah, so everyone's a little startled now. Rasputin even jumps back. Like, you're in the middle of, like, the conversation of Garfinkel, and then he just looks shocked.
Oh.
Mike's doing his best Mr. Universe impression now.
Where did he?
Call this with the crab.
Oh. I'm gonna say after like 30 strong seconds, Terry's coming back out of it.
Are you okay?
Uh, Garfinkel,
Realizes he's visible.
yeah, Garfinkel looks in and says, "You were not there moments ago.
Oh, I just got
Yeah,
back.
it's
Where?
from
Where-
where? There's only
Let's see how
one
good my
door.
lie is, and then I'll tell you what my lie is. My lie's all right.
Yeah, you're always good. It's a good lie.
Do I need to contest that, or
So I'll just, yeah, man.
And if you want to,
not that I have any skill with that? Oh wait, yes I do.
all right.
Oh,
So,
damn.
does anyone
my
else want
lie
to try and
is-
contest the lie, or?
Wait.
I mean,
wait,
no.
wait.
I know exactly what happened.
Oh. Oh.
My
shit.
lie is that I was in the bathroom, and they were so wrapped up in their conversation they didn't see me return.
Rasputin doesn't buy it either. Garfinkel.
But it's very plausible.
No.
Nah, no.
Uh,
That. What?
They
bathroom?
haven't
There's
called
not
me
even
out on
one
it yet,
marked
so,
in the
you
front
know.
area of this shop. What do you mean you were in the bathroom?
Where else would I have come from?
You see Rasputin actually pulls from his pocket this small like not a shaker, but one of those circular boxes of salt. And he starts laying it on the ground in a circle around him.
Oh, that's not suspicious at all.
He's reasonably cautious, is what he is.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What everyone should be doing. And then with
Oh,
that, he pulls a small pocket knife from his pocket and pricks his finger, adds a small drop of blood to the salt, and
I'm gonna
Yes.
peer over his shoulder at this point and very loudly in his ear, Rasputin's ear, say, "What are you doing?"
you actually can't get close to him, Church.
Oh, I never
Mike-
left him. Still superimposed over him.
No, but like when he gets down and he moves, it just starts doing the salt. Like
Oh, does it
you-
shove me out?
Yeah.
Well, that's
So it's like
confusing.
you go up to him and you run into what feels like this force field that you can't. It's just pressure.
So this is an odd one. Obviously, Terry's
he
not
doing?
in the know, but like salt circles and blood are kind of like popular magical artifacts. He'd probably kind of understand.
Would
The
you
intent.
understand what he's doing, or would you just think that this guy's extremely eccentric and watches too many movies?
My man,
I've
I'm a
seen this on
cultist.
TV
I'm a
once.
cult leader. You think I'm gonna think a salt circle and some blood is weird?
Okay, you were asking him, not me. Great. Okay.
Anyone.
Terry,
Anyone here.
Terry.
I mean, you're talking to the like changeling magical practitioner. Of
Yeah,
course, I'm not
Morgana
gonna think
knows
it's
what's
weird.
going on.
Out of
The
character,
mask
I
is
know what
all the
he's
way
doing.
off now.
In
I say to the
character,
group at large.
I'm not quite sure.
Excuse me, Mike.
He's got a
Who is
force
this
field.
Mike?
He's got a force field, Terry.
Who is this Mike you keep talking
Watch,
about?
watch.
I,
Plap, plap, plap.
Who's Mike?
To Gucci Rasputin, I say, sir, if you hear a small noise, don't worry. That's just my ghost tapping on your force field.
Who is Mike?
He kind of peers over at Mike and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Who is Mike?
I have no idea.
Who?
I just came here. I was looking for Freddy. I think he has something that is important to me, and now he may very well be dead.
Wait, dead?
What's the important thing?
Who's important?
And who's Mike?
I'm Mike.
I
Terry, tell her I'm Mike.
Just complete silence as I
Yeah.
try to figure out what's going on here.
This is our rich friend, Terry.
What is
John, what's the
happening?
important thing that you think Freddy has?
I bet he's got a Porsche.
Morgana's getting
Trying
insistent
to,
at
trying
this
to ask
point.
Terry who Mike is. Like, what is going on here?
You're a 1%er, you should know. I think he has a key.
What?
To Gillard,
A
I say-
key?
good sir, I think we have more important matters to discuss than who Mike is. We'll get around to Mike.
How many
Narrow
Porsches
size.
do you have? That's important.
All right.
Do you have a yacht? But he's got a yacht. Always wanted to go on a yacht. Could use some sun, Terry.
Go on with the John interaction. Don't let us interrupt you anymore.
What makes you think that Terry's dead?
Freddy.
Freddy.
Freddy's dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's Terry?
Ouch! 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 I'm physically in pain. Keep the name straight. It's not that difficult. Just keep them straight. It's very simple. It's very simple.
Oh, God,
Okay.
what did I walk into?
All right. Freddy.
Who's Freddy? Terry, who's Freddy?
What about Freddy? Do you know where Freddy is?
Freddy.
What makes you think Freddy's dead?
Maybe Freddy went to Hollywood.
Well, if-
Oh wait, that was Freddy.
If you haven't seen him for some time, it's quite possible they've got him.
What
Ah,
key is
shrug
it?
shoulders. What do you mean? Nobody keeps track of Freddy.
Well, if they want to find you, they'll find you.
He goes off the grid for days. What makes you think that because we haven't heard from him, something's happened to him?
You do not understand the forces that he's up against.
What do you mean forces?
Talking about
Is
Jedi.
he dead
man.
again?
Wait, what? Who's dead?
Is he in debt again?
Oh, in debt. I thought you said, is he dead again? I was gonna say, how did you raise him?
He's up, he's down, he's up again.
I have no idea about his financial situation.
He's up, he doubles down, he's down again.
If he has what they're looking for, they're gonna find him.
John, this is not the time to be subtle about this. What key?
The key, woman. The key to the chest.
I keep looking back and forth between Morgana and John, like, I don't know what's
Wait.
happening here.
Listen,
Stare off into the middle distance, like.
A week ago, there was an instant.
Walk slowly backwards.
One of my companions was murdered, and all evidence are pointing that Freddy was there. And there's some people who were recording videos there. It appears that he picked up what we believe is the key to some very important artifacts.
We were both there, but he didn't pick up a key.
You were there too?
Yes, he picked up a part of a box that got chipped off.
What did this part look like? What did the box look like? Did you see the box?
I don't know what the box looked like, and at this point, like, I pull the symbol out of one of the pockets in my skirts, and I hold it up, basically, and I show him.
That's it. And with that, you actually see with his foot, he actually breaks the threshold on his salt circle, and he kind of approaches you and says, "Can I see it?"
Sure, and I hand it to him.
He grabs it, he looks at it, he holds it up to the light, inspects, and he goes, "My goodness, he found it. It's real."
That's amazing.
The stories are true.
It is true. What are we gonna do about it?
Tell me, please.
Tell you about what particularly?
That's weird.
What's going on with the key? What stories are true?
So, I come from a long line of... This is where most people roll their eyes and consider us crazy, but we come from a long line of alchemists. We call ourselves the Order of Saint Germain. And
I'm a magical practitioner. Continue.
Oh, so you're in the know.
Yes.
Are the rest of your friends?
I'm totally in the know. Look at me. Don't I look like I'm in the know?
You're gonna want to lie
far as
because
I'm
that was a
concerned, no, but
violation of the
continue.
Accords.
What's that?
I said, as far as I'm concerned, no, but continue.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I'm just like watching you guys, looking between the two of you, like
I come from the afterlife. I know all.
Have you ever considered hiring an exorcist for your shop?
Oh, now you're just being rude.
I'm picking up on some very harsh vibes here.
Harsh.
Don't worry, he's not attached
This
to the
person is
shop.
apparently a friend of this young man who I've just made acquaintance with, so
And I am the
Mike
night
is?
he is welcome here.
most
Please
attractive.
continue. There's more pressing matters.
Ghostess
Oh,
the
yes.
most.
Yes, there is.
But that's
Freddy.
who Mike is.
So,
Yeah.
well, now we're back to square one. If he didn't have the key... Oh, this changes everything. I must report back. Can I keep this?
Yes, certainly. Go on.
Oh, thank you. And he slides in his pocket and he slowly starts to head towards the door. I appreciate it.
It just leaves this broken.
I appreciate you too. Please keep me in.
salt on the floor. All right.
We'll be in contact, and whenever Freddy returns, I'll be sure to let you know. And I walk up to him and hand him like a business card, basically.
Mega quirky. All right, dude.
Oh, dang,
Dark.
that's classy, Terry. Give him your business card too.
By
Mike, we
Dark
don't really do
Angel.
business cards.
It's gonna impress our rich
I'll
friend.
give him one. I'll hand him one. Again, it's a MIDI keyboard.
so
Look at that.
he takes both business cards and he stops and he looks back at Morgana and he looks at you for a second and says, "You said you were there that evening, correct?
Yes, I was.
So you may be able to help me. Can the video footage that we seen, it was grainy, it was breaking in and out, it was dark. Were you able to make out the assailant?"
I saw him.
As far as I could remember,
Well, her.
it was a woman in yoga pants.
She had a bad
Young
case
man,
of the
weren't you
yuck
there
mouth.
as well?
Had a bad case of the yuck mouth, right, Terry?
I point at Terry and I'm singling out Terry like with this, like whenever I say it. When I say young man, weren't you there as well?
I look from Morgana to Terry at like, oh, was he there?
Had a bad case of yuck mouth, remember? Like total cavity creeps kicking hard.
He looks over at Terry and goes, "You were there too?"
I just said that.
I was there that day. Was that man a friend of yours?
He was a good friend.
You have my sincere apologies. He died in my arms.
So, did you were able to make out the assailant? And if you were
An
right
older
there, you must
woman.
have.
Hair graying, sweatpants on. Yes.
Any distinguishing
Ferocious.
features, or
I give him the best description that I can. The same that we tried to produce for the sketch artist, and then Mike just took over that whole operation.
You just look back and forth between the two of
Do
them.
we still have the picture, or did they keep it?
they kept it?
Oh, they kept that.
That was my art. I'm offended.
Out of character, what you could have done is taken the back page from that drawing, and you would have the impression of the art you drew.
Yeah, that's the little too much forethought for someone like Mike, though.
He's a
Yeah.
professional. He can just
Just
make it again.
True. All right. Never mind then. Just
It's a good idea, though.
I've been watching too many detective shows. That's what I've been doing. Nobody ever asks me what I'm up to. I'm watching too many detective shows.
The Order of Saint Germain. I struggle to remember. Did they have like a public-facing front of the same name? Did they have a public appearance as like a charitable order or something?
Is the Saint Germain Order real?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think they are in like real life.
Oh, they were historically an actual order.
Oh, were they really?
Remember, I was talking to you about that. The Order of the
Yeah.
Rosicrucians.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is a completely different order, and he kind of looks at me and he says, "People confuse us all the time. We're the real order."
All right, that's very interesting statement to Terry because they were a bunch of theosophists, and Terry's a Gnostic basically. So this he actually is kind of feels a certain spiritual affinity with this dude. He says,
Okay.
"What was in that box that was worth dying over?"
Potentially the secret to life everlasting.
Well, why would you want
Not
that?
suspicious at all.
I can tell you all about that.
Who wouldn't? Overcoming death? It's the Holy Grail.
Oh, there's nothing holy about that.
There is. Could you imagine the world's greatest minds if they were allowed to continue to create?
It would be such a shame to trap them forever in their mortal coil.
Oh, there'd be no trapping. Everyone would have the option.
All right, this is great. Out of character.
Yeah.
Terry has the key, obviously.
Uh-huh.
He was contemplating for a moment revealing such things to this man. But because of his philosophical stance, being completely opposed to this, he's not going to.
This
Doesn't
is
break the
great.
story at all.
This is great. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to invite you to dinner for out of character for somebody else who's
Yes.
also looking for you. 10 out
Holy
of 10.
shit.
You know what? I don't like this guy either, Terry. Exorcism. God.
He's not rich enough for you.
You know what,
John.
You know what this guy is, Terry? I'm going to tell you what this guy is. He is a supernatural Nazi. That's what he is. Doesn't like ghosts. I'm offended.
All right.
You should kick him right in the jimmy. I'm
I
gonna
hope-
turn around, arms crossed, back to everybody, and start tapping my little ghost foot.
To the man, I say, I hope you have time to think that over before you get the opportunity to follow through on it. I wish you luck.
Right in the jimmy.
I appreciate it. And then he turns back to Morgana, and as he's about to start talking, the front window of your shop just explodes in as a large steel garbage can from outside comes flying through your window. Shatters the glass, spreads everywhere, and outside you see these 3 blank-faced men standing there.
Blank face.
What in the hell?
Do they have facial features or are they just expressionless?
Expressionless. They're humans. They look like everyday people you'd cross on the street. Nothing special about them, but just no emotion.
Guard my face from the glass that comes
All right.
spraying out.
Terry, move.
What would you do
Out
that
the
to my
back, let's
shop
go.
for?
Gillard will have to speak later. I'm out the back.
I'm
So-
following.
Yeah, I should be running too, so I'll go too.
All right, so Morgana, you're just standing there like all pissed off.
Yeah, like the hell? They should pay for this.
So
I could have hit my face. I'm out.
as the 3 of you are heading towards the back door, you get to an alley, and you find 2 more of them standing at the back door of the alley.
Oh, come on.
Are we blocked?
You're blocked. And you can you open up the door and you see 2 of them just standing there as well.
Who are they?
They don't. Are you asking them?
I mean, I have a thing I can do, but
The thing you can do might require time.
So the 3 of you at the back door, who came out the door first?
I
Terry,
did.
probably. Oh,
Terry.
well, no, Mike. He doesn't have to stop for doors.
Yeah. I'm blasting through.
So Mike blasts through the door. Then it's Terry, and then Gillard.
yes, I took a moment to shake the glass out of my suit.
So let me do one thing real quick.
Puddling. I don't know, out of character, I don't know if using usual suspects will throw you off or not. I don't know if it's planned for me not to know them or for us to get into combat, and me knowing one of them and getting out of here would be
You won't know them. They're
alright.
yeah, you won't know them. But as Terry, as you open up the door and you start to go through it, one of these men actually reaches out in an attempt to grab you.
I will attempt to duck him.
The moment they make a move, since I came out first,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to use my poltergeist ability and hurl whatever's nearby, a garbage can or whatever, at full force right at him.
Okay. You'll have to wait though.
Okay.
He's actually going to... Let me open the sheet for this real quick. Where's that at? There we go. So yeah, he reaches out. I'm gonna roll the 4 dice and then make the additions. All right, Terry, go ahead and roll to evade, and you're using your poltergeist at this point, Church, to try and help, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm protecting Terry at all costs.
poltergeist is one of your stunts, right?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and burn one of your refresh
Ectoplasmic
or your
cohesion.
fate points or whatever they are. Yeah, so you'll do that, and Terry, you get a +1 to your
Okay.
attempt to duck.
What shall I roll to duck? Haste?
It's just your defense is just straight +4,
Okay.
or not +4. It's just the 4 dice.
Straight for fate.
Yep.
I do not.
Yeah, because even with the +1, you're at -1. So he's then going to also roll his 4 fate for the dumpster that he now finds barreling towards him. And we're gonna say
Wait,
what end?
Is
What's
that just a D4 or the forward fate dice?
That's 4 fate dice.
Okay.
So he did pretty well. But what's gonna end up happening with this is he reaches out and grabs Terry by like the front of his shirt and just lifts him up off of the ground as this dumpster comes just rolling by, and it causes him having to avoid it. And he grabs, and both him and Terry end up falling to the ground. The second guy is right there. He bends down to kind of grab Terry and put him in a arm lock type. What's that called? Full Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Backing
I
away.
am not the strongest man. I will
have a-
attempt.
I know we don't have an initiative, but I have another move. Let me know when I can tell it.
There is an initiative. It's very loose initiative.
I don't want to
Zeus
cross.
physical proximity.
Yeah, let me know when I can act again. I got something planned.
We'll do. So this guy goes and Terry he grab you can. I'll let you roll.
All right.
Question though, like one guy
I'll give you
grabs Terry and lifts him up,
I'm
and the other
defending
one-
against his thing, so I'm gonna roll my 4 fate
Mhm.
dice.
Can I ask what the other guy's doing?
There we go.
The two that are back here, the one of them he pulled Terry down to the ground with him, and the other one's was right there, so he's bending down and he's picking Terry up and putting him in.
I-
You will in just a moment. So he picks up, and you're actually gonna take 1 point of stress from this, Terry,
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
like he's picking you up and he's squeezing on you, and you feel your joints just like your shoulders are about to pop out of their sockets. You've been in some pickles in your life, but this is unique to you. This brings it up to your turn, Gillard.
Man, I gotta stop leaving the house. I gotta stop leaving the house. Honestly, this is the second time this week.
Pandemic of another kind.
Maybe I should just stay home. This is insane.
That's your action. Going out.
Excuse me. What are you doing? I'm just gonna ask one of them. What are you doing?
They don't respond at all.
Hello? Well, if there's movement to use, I'm getting out of here.
Okay.
I mean, I tried using my bonus action to try to talk to them, but if they won't talk to me, what's the point?
So you just
I'm not getting dead over here.
you book
I'm
it
out.
down the.
Yeah, they're not after me. They don't care about me. They clearly see I'm here, but apparently I don't matter. So they have a mission, and it's him. So I'll get out of here and get to my car. Hopefully,
Okay. So you
there's no
start.
map of where the store is or the width of it.
So at this point, you start running down the alley, and then we're gonna move back to Morgana, who's in the front of the shop with John Garfinkel.
Garfinkel.
I'm looking at these stony face like fuckers, and I'm just like, you think you're gonna pay for that?
Glass faced.
Oh, she's about to go New Orleans on him.
So do you wanna? When they don't respond to you, what would you do?
Fireball.
Hmm. Let me see. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw up a wall of earth in front of my shop because I'm pissed the fuck off at them like destroying my stuff. So I'm going to like use my evocation and like throw up a wall
Okay.
if I can.
You can. I want you to explain to. So you're in the middle of downtown New Orleans, and you're gonna just have the ground outside your shop just rise.
Erupt.
Are you? I'm trying to figure out like what approach you'd be using. If this would be like pure force, or is there gonna be focus to make this like thin but strong? Describe what this wall would be. What would happen to the concrete outside as this wall went up?
The concrete would probably break a little bit, like as pure like earth kind of comes up from the ground. I probably will use some focus to try and not destroy the front of my shop like any more than I have to, basically. So like a little bit of care and attention, but I am going to at the same time like bring it up as quick as I can, just because like yeah, I don't want them throwing any more trash cans at my windows.
Roll haste for me.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So let me pull up your character sheet too. Morgana. So you're using evocation?
Yes.
All right. Do me a favor and make sure you. Oh, yeah. Make sure you burn one of your. You spend one of your fate points. So just put a 1 in the circle next to evocation to show that you used it, or maybe it's a -1. But it should subtract it in the total, so that should bring you down to 0.
Yeah.
All right. So, in your haste, you do just what you set out to. The concrete outside the shop starts to ripple, the stone starts to crack, and out of the ground is this dirt wall breaks through the ground and just blocks off the front of your shop. And let me check something real quick.
Stop
You just
fuckers thinking they can just come in and destroy my shop.
you start to hear pounding outside the shop, and the dirt, you start to see small little cracks starting to form in the dirt wall. Garfinkel looks at you and says, "My God, they found us. We have to go. hurry. And he kind of grabs your arm and starts to like pull you towards the back exit as well.
All right, I'll be running with him then. Because obviously he knows more than I do, and like this shit sounds pretty scary. So yeah, I'm running with John.
So you guys make it out to the back door as well, and I mean, this has just been kind of a minute maybe since the altercation out back, and you find at this point Terry being held up in this lock, kind of a chokehold, not a chokehold, but full Nelson.
No, it is a
Let's
full
just,
Nelson. You had it the first time.
Yeah, in a full Nelson, as the other gentleman stands up from the ground, doesn't bother to dust himself off, and they just look at each other, and then they look at you. There's two of these guys out back.
What the hell
I'm gonna
is going
say,
on?
and at this point, Gillard is still running. They're about, I'd say, about halfway down the alley towards the street. Morgana, you're going to have caught them kind of off guard, so I'm going to give you first action here.
All right. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to keep running as John has instructed, because I'll probably see Gillard running, and I'm going to be running after him.
Okay. So as you try to run past, one of them reaches out and grabs your arm. Do you want to try and, I imagine you want to try and object to it.
Yes.
So go ahead and roll for that.
All right, do I roll anything or just like a straight D4?
Just straight 4 fate dice.
Okay. 4 fate, yeah. Wait, that's... Never mind, hold on.
You just rolled 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's
There we-
what's wrong
rip.
with
Which
mine.
was better than most.
So
They got me. They got me.
yeah, he grabs your arm, and the pressure from the force of his grip is, you can tell it's gonna leave bruises because he's just squeezing. You feel like there's no way you're gonna get loose from this. And with that, John is going to pull something out of his pocket and throw it straight into the face of your attacker, who's got you by the arm. And his face just starts to melt. And his grip becomes loose as he releases his grip. Falls to the ground, just bleeding on the ground. He falls over, dead.
Yeah. I am not even going to question what's going on. I'm going to continue to run with John. I'm getting out of here.
Terry is kicking, stuck in this hold, and he says, "Do you have another?"
So, at this point, we're gonna get back to you, Terry. I imagine you want to try and get out of this.
I would love to, and first, actually, I would look at this thing that has occurred to the other guy.
So I'm gonna actually pause this for you guys too, because this is our first real conflict, and I can't remember if you guys remember looking at the cheat sheet that I posted in Discord, because there's 4 actions that you can take in combat, and not all of them are straight attacks. So while you guys are running away, you could do other things here to create so like the 4 things you can do is create an advantage, you can attack, you can take a defensive posture, or you can try to overcome an obstacle. You can also use teamwork to give a +1 for each ally that's helping someone. So, Gillard, in case you get halfway down the alley, running past garbage cans, you notice a broken bottle kind of thing, you may stop and be like, I could set something up here. Like, what kind of things would you think you might find in an alley that might help give Terry an advantage against this attacker? So I just wanted to throw that out for the group in case you decide you want to do something other than attacking.
Like, I don't have any field of reference for how long this alley is. It's just like a short alley that I'm running down.
It's a city block.
Okay, so I'm trying to get out of here.
You're bold.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
I
just
found him, but they found him too, and I can't do anything with him because they won't tell me what the point of this is. You know, one of their guys is dead now. If I can see that far.
Are you looking back? You're slowing down to look back?
Probably not looking back. I'm just going. You know, I'm not looking to create an advantage for him. If I see a piece of rebar, I'm picking that up myself. You know.
That's fine. No, that's in character. Yeah. That's fine.
Just a wheel, you know.
Yeah, no, that's 100% okay. I just wanted to make sure that I refreshed everyone so everyone knows what options are in front of them. And if you go to Discord, you can pull up that cheat sheet, and it kind of goes through the dice rolls, the outcomes, the actions you can take, the different aspects, because there's aspects to where you can try to invoke something, you can try to compel something.
Can I use that to invoke or compel my driver to help me with something, or?
To use a compel, you'd have to spend one of your fate points. Or a compel's more of you receive a fate point if you do something that's in your nature. Compelling someone else is typically considered creating an advantage.
All right, I want to get out of here. Just make it to my driver, hopefully.
Okay.
Within the next turn. If I see a piece of rebar or any stray object I can use as a weapon if I need to. I don't know if I'm running from the back of the building through the alley to loop around to pass the front, or if I'm running to the street where I know my driver is parked.
Well, your driver would have... Where would your driver have parked? I imagine it would have been front of the building, kind of either... No, because you pulled up right in front of the shop. So what would your driver have done when they saw 3 guys throw a dumpster through a window?
Property damage would indicate to try to move away from that area to avoid damaging my vehicle because that's coming out of his check. So
okay.
He's gonna move around. If there's the shop and then there's a side street that goes parallel to the shop, front exit to back, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. So you're halfway down the city block and you see your driver drive past.
I'm gonna stick 2 fingers in my mouth and make a loud whistling noise and hope that he hears me.
Off whistle, basically.
Yeah, just I can't do it.
Not me either.
So
out of character, I can't whistle, but my character.
It wouldn't even be a wolf whistle. I can't remember what it's called.
This is how D&D is wish fulfillment.
Right.
Everyone's characters can whistle.
Yeah.
So at this point, and I'm going to have you roll for fate just to see if luck and fate is on your side, because I picture a very wealthy person having some really good sound dampening in their vehicles so that way they aren't disturbed by people's subwoofers and the noise outside and just all the stuff they don't want to have to deal with. So
I would specify that would be in the cabin of the vehicle, not in the driver's seat, because the driver needs to be able to hear his surroundings.
That's why I'm letting you roll for fate and see if fate's on your side.
All right, that's in the character sheet somewhere, right? Or is it
just dice off the left-hand side.
Okay.
You'll see one that says fudge.
I know there's approaches, is what I was checking.
We are not doing great.
We are doing very well. Look at all this beautiful conflict.
Yeah. My lips weren't wet enough. It just makes like a ways because I've been breathing
It-
in and out and trying to run. So
It is hard to do that while you're in a full tilt run down an alleyway. That's
Yeah.
fair.
It didn't work. So I'm just gonna like veer around that corner precariously on one foot, like hopping for a second as I try to get turn the corner. And
So
get down.
at the end of your turn, I'll say that you're just about reaching the end of the alleyway.
It's physically painful.
So we're gonna go back to one of the guys just died. Terry, what are you trying to do to get out of your full Nelson?
So, two things. The first one is my action is going to be predicated on the guy who just died. Did he transform into a horrifying creature, or is he just a guy who died?
Just died. His face has any muscle, skin, fat from his face. It's just exposed human skeleton in front of his face.
Okay. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, basically.
Yeah.
But it is terror that has been visited upon my enemies, and therefore it is not enough to prompt, like, absolute desperation tactics. So I'm going to say that I am going to attempt to slit the full Nelson. If you're very skinny, and Terry's very skinny, he's been starving a while, you can get your arms up together and try and slide down.
Yep.
Am I
All right.
allowed to
So,
have it back into his
would that
eyeballs?
be a defense or an overcome, given that he's already got me in a full Nelson?
I would say that's an overcome.
Okay. So, I get to pick an approach for an overcome. If I can make it reasonable that I've used it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can reasonably say that I use my very best approach, because flair doesn't really make sense here.
Right, because you get to pick your approach and how you do it. Because like if you're using the overcome, like you could try and see, is he kind of startled or off put by his companion's face just melting? Maybe you make a hasty move. But in this case, like he gives no emotional response. Doesn't kind of jerk. He's very focused on his duty.
Yes, I'm going to say this is a focus one. Terry is trying to block out the outside world, calm the panic that's swelling up inside of him. He knows that you can get out of this one with skinniness if you can just get your shoulders close enough together and keep your hands in the air. He knows you can get out. Full Nelson's not really that great of a hold.
Nope.
Just for flavor's sake, Terry, I want you to realize that Mike is uncomfortably still and focused, and his hair is waving around unnaturally right now.
Shit's gotten serious for the boys. Like, one more turn of this, Terry's breaking out the big guns. But because he's not, like, in true desperate fear yet, he's gonna make this attempt. Let's see, I give you the roll plus the approach. Don't really have any aspects to invoke that are relevant here, so I'm just gonna hit you with it.
Oh,
That's pretty high.
That's good.
Jeez.
Bravo.
That's good. That's actually really good. Let's see, what does
That's
he get?
superb. According to this thing, anyway.
You win by 1 shift.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you succeed. We'll say you succeed with, since you. No, it's actually just 1 above a tie. So you accomplish your goal.
This man has the advantage over me, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
But I overcame.
You
So,
did.
Nothing fancy happens, I just managed to slip down.
So you put your arms up, you slide out of the hold. Do you kind of roll out of the way, or do you just kind of stay there, kind of fetal position, guarded?
I feel that this guy was kind of tall, taller than Terry, at least. Terry's not very tall at all.
I'm gonna say how tall is this guy's probably like 6'2".
Yeah, he's got like 5 inches on Terry.
Okay.
So I fall to the ground. I keep my feet. Which way have Morgana and John actually made it anywhere yet?
They haven't. Well, Morgana is heading, we'll say, east. They're running east towards where Gillard was down the alley. Morgana's probably, I'd say, quarter of the way to the street. You'd see Gillard right close to the exit of the alley. John Gerfinkel is still kind of at the door.
Yes. I'm booking it east.
Okay.
Say, Mike, cheese it.
I'm gonna say, Mike, what are you doing right now?
First off, does it look like Terry's going to escape?
Don't know yet.
I think so. Terry thinks so.
Mike's panicking. Terry's very important to Mike.
I've slipped the grip and I'm running.
All right. All right, you know, I'm gonna play it a little safe. I'm gonna basically use my poltergeist again, and I'm gonna lift up the corpse by his ankles and slam the other guy with it.
That's
Okay.
a big poltergeist.
An attempt to terrify him. My phobophage.
Am I allowed to ask what happened to his eyeballs?
The one who's dead?
He said his face is a skeleton, but does that mean his eyes are gone too? Or
Yeah.
all right, never mind.
Yeah, like it's. I think Church said it best. What was it? Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
I mean,
Raiders
Or
it's,
of the
no,
Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
yes. I mean, it's whatever John threw in his face, and it has to have been some kind of acid. It just
Melted.
like even parts of the
That's a-
bone is like being poxed and bubbling.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, just to clarify too, I'm doing this to distract, trip up, and terrify. I'm not so much worried about damage.
So do me a favor, and you didn't mark your poltergeist,
I did.
did you?
Yeah, it takes
Uh,
ectoplasmic cohesion points every time I use it.
But you still have to spend a fate point to use it.
Okay, so it's 2.
I think it's just
So this'll
used
be-
it once.
No, I used it once before.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you've had a chance to kind of, I don't want to say relax, but your stress had kind of reset from that. So you
All
got
right, well, I'll leave 2 then for this one.
yeah. So we'll do 1 point for the poltergeist, 1 point for the phobophage you're about to use. So you've only used 2 points
Okay.
this session, because each session you get a fate point. You kind of refresh your fate points.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going on the description.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So phobophage.
Phobophage
trying-
actually creates an aspect of terrified.
So your aspect of terrified does nothing to this guy.
All right, so he's immune.
Yeah. But you throwing a faceless body at him, roll 4 fate for it, because you're creating an obstacle.
All right, just
trying to-
straight up.
Yeah, you're trying to create an advantage. Hey, you never know. He might do worse.
The accidental double click.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm giving him the
Oh,
2. He actually, you throw this body at him, and it bounces off of his chest. So there's no terrified response, and a dead body just bounces off of him, falls to the ground, just kind of flops around, and he's just staring at Terry, who's about to book it. With that, John actually reaches out from behind his back and pulls out a snub-nosed revolver. And he's going to attempt to shoot the guy straight in the face. Ooh, not looking good for John. So that was John's roll. This is the other guy trying to overcome. Oh, so it's a tie.
Hey.
So he gets a boost. So he actually attempts to shoot the guy in the face, but his adrenaline's going. He's nervous. He's kind of panicky. The bullet shoots right past the other guy's, or he shoots past the guy's face, clips his ear. And no response from the other guy. So that brings us back to Jallard. No, Morgana.
All right, I'm looking back at John because I want to be sure, like, you know, my new friend gets out there. What do I see, like, at the back of the alleyway?
From what was behind you?
Yeah, because I'm, like, glancing back, looking at, like, you know, what John's doing, because I'm wondering where he is.
So you look back and you see John just pulled out a revolver, stuck it in some guy's face, pulled the trigger. Beyond that, you just see some dumpsters, a couple of fire escapes. There's a doorway from another shop that's kind of propped open.
I'm not visible. I should be visible.
She sees you on the ground, about to start booking it towards her.
Yeah, so, trying to think what I could do. Let me see. Can I use glamour to pull it over 2 different people?
Normally yes, but you are exhausted from creating that wall.
Oh, okay, so I need to mark exhausted.
No. What I mean by exhausted is you've kind of spent your kind of magical abilities for the day. You'd have to take a rest.
Yeah, glamour is something different from it's like not a magical practitioner thing. It's like a fae thing.
Right, but it's one of your stunts.
Okay.
So to use a stunt, you have to spend a fate point.
Glamour doesn't have that cost.
Let me double check. I'm pretty sure to use any stunt, you have to use a fate. But let me double check.
Okay.
That was the same thing with mine.
Some of them list fate points specifically as the cost, and others list other, you know, conditions or such that you must mark.
Yeah.
Some of mine just say mark favor to do something.
Yeah, mine just said deplete ectoplasmic cohesion.
Yeah,
Mine is just I mark a box of called, basically.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought fate was something else.
Page 95.
And there's like, yeah, and there's like an improved glamour sort of deal that like does, I know, cost fate points to use. But I didn't take that.
Calculating refresh. Your refresh determines the number of fate points received at the start of each game session. Spend these points to invoke aspects or to activate certain stunts. Okay. Everyone begins with 3 refresh points, but may spend refresh to purchase certain stunts later, which I believe you did, Morgana.
I did.
You begin every session with the fate points from the previous session's conclusion, or a number equal to the character's refresh. As the game progresses, your character gains additional points. So choosing a stunt. A stunt is a special trait. Generally, yes, +2. Character automatically receives all core stunts, yada, yada, yada. Recording stress and conditions.
Can I make a quick suggestion?
Yeah.
Why don't we take a break while we get that in order and refill drinks?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
It was
it's
about
10
drink time.
Yeah. And then we'll circle around and find out if you have to spend a fate for that. It's
All
looking
right.
like it's in your
Yeah, I
favor.
don't know.
All right.
Check on mine with the ectoplasmic cohesion too, just to be certain.
I don't know about that one, but yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I'll double check.
And mine's a homebrew combination of 1%er / criminal, so I don't know if the favor that we came up with would work the same way. It'd be nice to know.
Let me double check, because the way I'm thinking it may work is you have to spend either a fate point or there's a condition where you spend something other than a fate point. So kind of like churches is
Yeah.
you have to burn ectoplasm that gets around the fate.
Mine says that. Mine says use a point of favor to do this, but it wouldn't make sense for them to give me 5 boxes for favor.
How many points of favor do you have?
I have 5.
Okay, so yeah, no, it makes sense, because then you'd be able to use a favor. But you'd have to figure out a situation of how someone owing you a favor would get you out of this circumstance.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough to spend. But I'm just
Right.
saying, like, if I had to use fate points in addition to using favor, as it's written, it
Now,
would be kind of for me to do more than 3 things.
But I will be right back. Sorry.
yeah, it's all good.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm just trying to.
Master, we'll talk this through, because it's quite possible I may allow you to burn a fate point for someone who owes you a favor to be walking by.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to do that. I was just gonna try to call my driver with my phone just in my pocket, you know.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no. Well, let me finish reading this. I'm gonna switch the screen over to be right back.
Fair enough. I don't know. You know, I don't even know if that's gonna work.
No, it's all good. This is actually our first back and forth, so I apologize. I don't have all these rules like ingrained in me just yet, but we'll get there.
Oh, me neither. Like, I don't know. I'm just wondering how it sequentially, like, at the same time, simultaneously marks favor and fate. If it's 3 for fate and 5 for favor,
Well, it's
shouldn't have
because
so many boxes.
if there's not some, like, if you're in an alley, you're not gonna have someone who owes you a favor kind of standing by, so you'd have to rely on fate. That's someone just happens to be strolling by, kind of thing.
True.
So that's how
Yeah.
I'd play it off. But let me switch screens here real quick, and I'm gonna refill my drink too, and we'll be right back.
Fair enough.
To miss, I've only just got back myself.
That's all good. What were you guys talking about? A separate library?
I'm looking at
Posted some
I never
some
read.
architecture porn.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Hold on 1 sec.
Oh, it's all good. Terry, I didn't make you spend any fate, right?
Nah, you didn't.
All right. So you have a boost. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a boost to use. I think it was a tie, but I'm going to give you a boost. You have a +2 on whatever type of advantage roll. Or any roll. You boost your power.
Okay. Okay.
Terry, I'm glad
Is
you
this-
got away, by the way. I don't think you were here when I said it earlier, but if you had not gotten away, I was about to possess the corpse.
That was going to be an exciting time.
The faceless
Yeah.
corpse.
Yeah, I mean, I could go beat the hell out of somebody and take a beating in a corpse without ever really having to worry about it.
We were both about to pull the power moves. I was getting ready to bring in Faith Abides, my big fancy stunt.
I'm just picturing walking down the Bourbon Street in a faceless corpse suit.
People would think it was like the most amazing body paint ever.
Well, you imagine Mike, the moment he got attention, start
Oh my
moonwalking
God.
down Bowman Street.
You're like, did someone resurrect Michael Jackson's corpse?
All right. So we're on Morgana's turn. While Master's still coming back. Morgana, why don't you...
He's Master is back.
Oh, is she?
Here. Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't-
all right. I'm
I've
sorry.
been
Master never left.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Even better. We're all back, right?
Did you think I had a life or something?
Yeah.
All right, Morgana. So you drop a glamour on yourself?
Yeah,
or...
I want to drop a glamour on John and Terry to help them get away. If I can drop one on both at the same time, which is my question. Or like drop two separate ones.
Let me take a look. I'm going to open up the right sheet. That would help. I would say, yeah, you could potentially glamour two people. It would probably require like a... Let's see here. You may cast minor veils and seemings and moments of concentration. You know what? Since it's a minor veil, I'd say you'd have to choose between one or the other.
Alright, then I'm going to cast a glamour over John. Then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after I do that, continue to book it as much as I can.
Terry, in the front of your eyes, John just disappears.
Internally. Oh, so that's how that works. Externally, I'm out.
Such
Alright.
a suitable reaction.
So, Master, you're at the end of the alley where it opens up into the sidewalk. You can see your driver is kind of sitting at a stoplight at the... I wouldn't even say the end of the block. He's probably 25 yards away.
Don't you have a shock collar on him or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop running, take out my phone, and speed dial him. But I'm not speed dialing him, I'm speed dialing the car.
Okay, so it just... because you have a built-in cell into the car,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, not a built-in phone, like in the 80s, they used to have a phone in the car. I'm calling the Bluetooth.
You're calling the OnStar number for
Yeah,
the car
just
kind
like,
of thing. Yeah.
I have it already set up.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a
This
reason.
eventuality was planned for.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be waving my arms in the middle of the street. Because
Sir.
why would I?
So you dial and your driver picks up and goes, "Sir, how can I help you?"
I'm behind you.
What do you mean? I'm just pulling the car around the block. There was these just unsavory
Find somewhere
folks.
to pull over
Okay.
now.
Well, all right. Once I'm not blocked in by others, I'll pull over right off to the side.
Now.
There's a car to the right of me.
I feel like this is the role Master Miss has been waiting to play your whole life.
I don't know if you can
I'm
hear
based-
me snapping my fingers right next to the mic, but I will.
I couldn't. So
No, the noise is catching it.
all right. So
There you go.
you're with that, you're gonna hear the car kind of burn out, go, "Arrgh," and then he does a Yui and pulls over onto the other side of traffic, cuts off one car in the process. They end up doing like a 90-degree spin in the middle of the intersection to avoid hitting your driver. And he pulls over onto the side of the block that you're at, and he just puts the car in park.
Good. I
That's the
calmly
sort of
initiative.
compose myself. And
With that, we move on to it
I
being
can't get
Terry's
the car.
turn.
Okay. All right. I'll wait.
Okay.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I, as previously stated, am attempting to book it.
Okay.
I am right on Terry's 6.
Roll
And if this
haste
dude
for me.
starts, if this dude starts gaining, he's getting another dumpster hurled at him.
All right, roll what?
Roll haste for me.
Ooh,
That's good.
I am strong today.
Terry's booking.
Okay.
He's Usain Terry.
God is on my side, and I didn't even need to use the stunt that does that.
You feel lighter than normal. And did you add the +2 to that?
No.
So, like, your adrenaline is, like, just overflowing. Like, your fight or flight reflexes is kicked in, and your flight is booking it. You've actually, in the blink of an eye, just about caught up with Morgana as she's, like, kind of casting the glamour on John.
Can I grab hold of the back of his britches and be like,
Just flapping in the wind.
Yeah, you definitely can. John actually, while veiled, also heads towards Morgana. He's not quite as fast. Well, let's see. How fast is he? He's running, but he doesn't want to disturb the veil, so... Yeah, no. He's being overly cautious. And he's, like, light sprinting. Or power walking.
A gentle
hang
jog.
on. Hang on. Terry, go for the car.
If I can see the car, I will be angling for it. Because
So
I imagine I'd like see Gillard out of it.
No, you see Gillard at the end of the block, just kind of like hanging up his phone. Morgana, what do you do at this point? You like Terry's almost caught up with you.
I say, Jallard, can we jump in too?
Silence is scary.
Gillard.
Can I hear them? Because I called him, he pulled up, but then it's not my turn. So
You can hear
yeah.
them. And your turn's right after Morgana, so
I thought we were being snubbed for a second there.
well, if I wait for her, I have to wait for John. I don't see John. Who can I see?
you see Terry, you see Morgana.
Yeah, I'll wait, yeah.
In your car or at the end of the alley?
Well, I'm at the end of the alley already.
I know, but are you going to wait
haven't
for
been
them to
allowed to
join
get-
you at the alley, or are you going to start moving towards the car on your turn?
Yeah, I'm
Because what I'm trying to determine, are you going to be like, yeah, but hurry the hell up as you're like going to run down the street kind of thing, or?
I think my eyes are on my guy. If he's pulling up, I'm walking towards his car. I'm not answering any questions. I'm getting towards the car. If you guys get here in time, great. But if you
Okay.
hanging on for somebody, that dude at the end of the alley is gaining on you, I'm getting out of here.
So
That's my decision.
Haste
I'm
7.
not gonna.
I think I might make it.
Yeah.
Morgana, you call out, and what the hell is that?
Might overtake.
Yeah, Morgana, you asked just that very thing, and Gillard just kind of starts moving towards their car, doesn't respond. What do you do?
If anything, I'm just gonna look back and shrug. Like I'm walking towards the vehicle, and I'm just gonna be like, "You make it, you make it." You know. Ugh. I didn't come here to get trash cans thrown at me and get all sorts of glass rained at my face. You know. Somebody
Yeah.
shot a gun back there. Nah.
Yeah, I'm just like, hold on, and like I want to look back. How far away is John from like the dudes?
He's about, I'd say, halfway between the guy and yourself.
I'm gonna wait, and when he's like close enough to me, I'm gonna drop the veil.
Okay. So then we're gonna move on to Terry's turn. Are you're just still booking it? You're running it past Morgana, or are you gonna stop at Morgana? Okay.
Gone. I'm actually angling for Gillard. I at last believe Mike's statement. Maybe we could use a powerful friend.
All right.
Yeah.
So he books it past you, Morgana, and you just feel this breeze of air. He doesn't stop. He doesn't say hi. He doesn't acknowledge you. He's just hauling ass.
You could swear you almost hear wee.
In the action business, they call it expeditious retreat to cover. All right. So that'll bring it up to John's turn, and at this point, he reaches you, Morgana. But I accidentally skipped Gillard's turn. Gillard, you've made it to the car. So that was your turn since you're moving. So you get to the car, you start opening the door, brings it back to Morgana's turn.
It takes me a turn to open the door?
Well, you had to work your way down. You had to go 25 yards to the car and start opening the door.
Oh, okay. Okay, because he didn't pull up in front of me.
No.
Like I asked
you
him.
told
He's
you
gonna
no
make
you
me walk.
You told him pull over.
We're gonna have a talk about this.
You told him to pull over.
He see me. Come
That's
on.
fine. You can have a talk.
Have you ever met a 1%er, Ben? No, that's accurate.
That's completely fine.
Why aren't you reading my mind?
Yeah, no, that's.
You can see me. Do you think I want to walk 25 yards on a street with gunfire?
We'll role play that in a moment. So we're at the alley. You've made it to the car. Morgana.
Once John reaches me, like, I am, dropping the veil. I'm grabbing his arm. I'm just like, this way. And, like, I point to Gillard's car, and we're like, I want to run with him, like, toward Gillard's car. We'll be safe.
Come on, Adolf, you can make it.
So you start booking it towards the car. You're playing catch up to Terry. So at this point, you guys have essentially escaped any further combat.
Woo!
So you're gonna get to, everyone kind of gets to the end of the alley. At the way Terry's going, he's kind of made it up to Gillard. And as he makes it to Gillard, the rest of the group's kind of rounding their way out of the alley. And if Terry or Gillard are looking back at the group, they're actually going to see that a couple of we'll say one of the guys who were outside the shop are at the end of the block, at the intersection, at the opposite end of the block. And that leaves John and Morgana coming out of the alley. And Morgana, you actually notice the other two have just exited the rear of your shop. So they've actually made it through your wall.
Figures. As I see that, and I'm hopping in the car.
I was going to say, Gillard, are you letting them in your car?
That's the question that needs to be asked first, because you're not getting in my vehicle unless I let you.
I'm already in your car.
That's true. I am there and corporeal. I look back, see them. I'm panting heavily.
So what's going on here? I take time to get to the vehicle, and I open the door, and then they run up.
Yep.
Can I just get in the car?
Yeah, you could.
Gillard, those people are dangerous. We need to get out of here.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, you're 25 yards away.
So
I'm there,
I
though.
can be close as Terry, right?
Terry, Mike, who you can't see and interact with, So this is essentially
I thought it was at the car because I dropped the veil and
Yeah.
I grabbed a hold of John's arm and I was running.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
he rolled a 7 or something
Yeah.
like that.
I'm fast as fuck.
I know, but
Yeah.
whenever we got back to my turn and John made it up to me, I
yeah.
dropped.
Sorry,
the...
I wasn't clear on that. But it's
I know, it's
because of the pace that Terry was going, he is ahead of you. So he would have made it to the car first. But he's like 25 yards isn't a huge amount.
It's a ways, but not like.
Yeah, and you could run that in. You could run 25 yards in what, like 10 seconds?
Yeah, I'm running there.
All right.
But I'm there. Are you in the car yet, Jlard?
If I'm allowed to be in the car at this point, yes.
Yeah, you're in the car.
I know we
Did you
said
shut
that
the
I
door?
started opening
So
the
it's like
door.
you get in the car and you're about to shut the door as Terry runs up to the car. Terry, what do you say?
Grabs the-
Do you try to like grab the door? What do you do? You're just
I
catching
do
your breath.
put my hand on the edge of the door. I say, Jlard, I think you wanted to have a conversation. Whatever it is you want, it's fine. Get me out of here.
Good call.
I push the door open.
I
And
crawl into the next seat.
as Mike's crawling inside to the car, Morgana and John run up to the car.
Can we say this is like the back of a limo, sort of? Only it's a SUV, so they've got like this.
You got the
go around.
stretch Escalade.
Yeah. So there's room because there's like John, Terry.
It's your car.
Morgana,
Whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I want to have the back seat be like a U shape, so there's space for us to have a seat.
Okay.
All right.
So it's no longer an Escalade. It's like a hybrid Escalade.
Yeah, it's a long Escalade.
Would be a stretch Escalade.
The Escalade
Upgrade,
and a
people.
half.
Upgrade.
Stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll hold the door open for Terry.
What about Morgana and John Garfinkel?
Garfinkel.
I'm going to yell to Jlard, can we hop in too?
Since you're asking and not telling me, you can join me.
Thank you.
All right, so everyone's in the car now as you see.
This
Go
is
ahead,
very
Serge.
important, though. This is very important. I'm sitting next to Gillard. Nobody's sitting on me, are they? Yeah.
I'd say
I
no,
think
no
we would
one's
give
sitting on you.
Jlard some space.
Because, well, no, I'm like draped all over Gillard. Like, this is my new best friend.
Yeah.
Oh dear God,
I can't even see. I can't see this. So I can't react to it. So
you
we're
you
gonna-
cannot see this.
So the
Uh,
door's closed. I tell my driver to hit it.
John, you notice John kind of chuckles.
I'm
All right.
far too exhausted to ask him what he's talking about, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I was
My
gonna
new
say
friend is beautiful Terry.
Terry's used to this.
at this point, everyone gets in the car, and as you shut the door, you notice three of the just expressionless men round the corner. Not like they come running out of the alley.
You should probably tell the driver to punch it, Terry.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I tell him to hit it.
So right now he's kind of facing where they're at, so he burns out and cuts off another 3 cars to get back into the opposite
Peeling out in
traffic.
a straight
Yeah.
Escalade.
Yeah.
In the middle of New
That's-
Orleans traffic. This is awesome.
I know, that's please hold while I see if it causes an accident. As he does this, another car just kind of sideswipes the back of your stretched Escalade, and it doesn't cause any it's enough to kind of push the car to straighten out to where he can go, but Gillard, you hear there's some damage in the back of your car.
Morgana is gripping the edge of the car seat and she's just like,
Holding
I'm
on to the old
46
shit
years
bar.
old. I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah.
Mike's leaning out the window, through the window, cussing and flipping off the other car.
I'm telling the driver to keep going. We'll deal with that later. We're
Terry is just
shot at. Let's go.
back.
What's
And
the
all he
damage
can
look
say
like on
is,
the outside?
Mike, that's rude.
Mike, you can actually see that what I'll say is the left tail light has been torn off, and that corner's kind of like caved in.
Terry, somebody done vandalized our new car. They ripped the taillight out. This was such a nice car.
All right, let's get out of here.
Just panting.
We're getting out of here.
So your driver asks, "Well, sir, where do we go? I'm confident that we have lost them at this point. Where's our destination?"
Take us somewhere nice, pleb.
I can't hear you.
It's a good thing.
Go-
He's saying this knowing that Gillard here.
Oh, yes.
Take
no
me
one
to the
can.
penthouse.
The day
What's
Mike
that?
becomes visible is going to be a terrible day.
To the penthouse. It's one of the suites that I own in the hotels that I own.
Okay.
I'm
So
not taking it to my house. I wouldn't do that. That's tacky.
are you taking everyone with to your penthouse?
Yeah, I guess. Why not?
Okay. So your driver drives you to the penthouse, pulls up in front of the penthouse. Describe to me what the entrance to your penthouse looks like.
Just like a normal hotel. Any sort of like a standard.
I feel like me and a 1%er stay in different types of hotels.
Picture the
Best Western Express versus.
fabric overhang of a Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what I was picturing.
A deep burgundy instead of green, if that's the colors that they use.
There's a doorman.
Yes.
Okay.
He's wearing a suit. He's not wearing like a nutcracker's suit. He's wearing a business suit, like a black suit, like a FBI sort of plain sort of suit that they would wear.
Okay.
Classic.
Yeah.
Elegant.
Yeah. Understated, but still nice.
When would you say this was the last time you were at this penthouse?
Recently enough for them to know that I don't like them speaking to me.
Okay. So as you pile out of the car, everyone else piles out as well. The doorman just nods at you, opens up the door.
He avoids eye contact because I make him do that.
I'm going to pretend to inspect the doorman, looking for dust on his suit. Filthy animal. Take better care.
You won't find me because he's a marksman and an ex-FBI agent.
Oh, that's all right. I'm going to find something wrong just because he's a pleb and we're rich now.
His shoulders are slightly too broad.
Fair enough.
Mike
Yeah.
is glowing slightly with joy.
We'll skip the elevator. I guess I'm just gonna roll into this penthouse with these these people in tow.
These schmucks.
These quasi strangers.
But Terry, can you imagine what the continental breakfast in this place is like?
Under his breath. I doubt he eats the continental, Mike.
What's wrong with the continental? I like it. Well, I did like eggs.
Uh,
What do eggs taste like, Terry? Are eggs good?
these
I miss
Pretty
dregs,
good.
that's my mentality. These dregs will do. Because I'm not. This is me filming, so you don't have to see my real house.
Terry thinks back to the last time he had a good egg. Yeah, they're
Mike
pretty
does
good.
too. Mike does too. We're having a moment.
All right, so I guess we'll ride the normal elevator because you're here.
Yeah.
If
All right.
there's a pin code I need to type into the elevator's
Yeah,
button
if there's
panel,
a PIN code or some kind of access card you have to swipe.
Yeah, I'll do that with like the end of a pen, so I don't have to touch the, and I'll block the numbers from their view with my body if there's a numerical component.
Mike's looking.
Or, I guess there'd be like a near field thing card too, so I'll use that.
Okay. So you're on the elevator. You take the elevator up to your penthouse. I imagine, and let me know if you disagree, the elevator opens into your penthouse. You do not have to go through any hallways to get into your penthouse.
Yeah, it's just that whole top floor.
Okay. So as soon as you walk off the elevator to your penthouse, what would everyone see?
Well, the carpet is black because I requested it to be black, not like so it hides stains. It's just like a rich
Blood, for example.
Like a nice dark ebony.
yeah, like a high pile of mahogany everywhere. Yeah. It's a very dark, broody looking place, but it looks like it was made high class and it was done like that on purpose.
Do you
Like-
take off your shoes when you enter?
Eh. I probably should, yeah.
Terry does the same.
I step off the elevator and I visibly think for a second and then I take my shoes off.
Mike will take his feet off.
All right. Morgana, do you take your shoes off?
Yeah, actually have to pause and like unlace a bit of the boot somewhere underneath its long ass skirt. But yeah,
Yeah,
Take
John
them
gets
off.
off the elevator, shrugs his shoulders, and starts taking off like his Timberland boots.
We're polite here.
So as they do that, I'm gonna
I look at John and I just give
Uh,
him like the nod.
towards the ensuite. I don't know if it would have. Clearly, I'm not 1%. Me in real life. I don't know. I think I would give myself an ensuite kitchen.
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's a kitchen that's built into the
Just a
hotel.
kitchen in a hotel room.
Oh,
But
all right.
it's like its own separate little nook, sort of, with a refrigerator.
Okay.
A penthouse is typically laid out just like a very nice apartment, so you would almost certainly have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna head towards the kitchen, but I'm gonna stop short of entering that little area, and I'm gonna press a part of the wall to pull out like a rack of wine bottles. Because of course I would have that, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Just one of them real quick and close it back. Get some glasses out of the cabinet and just start walking towards whatever the living room looks like at this point.
Terry, if we're getting wasted, you gotta let me drive.
We
So
don't
I'd
have
have
a car, Mike.
I'd have like a stem in between each finger in a practice method to not crack the goblets. If that makes any sense. Like I can't show you what I'm doing here, but I have enough glasses for everyone, and I
Okay.
have them in hand.
Where's mine?
No, you got them like this and this and this,
so
and
y-
you're all facing them away from each other.
So you have like the wine bottle in one hand, your glasses held in the other, and you just kind of like nod to everyone.
Yeah, I'm not even nodding at this point. I'm just gonna head to the couch.
Okay.
Where's?
We
But-
will follow.
I want one.
Set the
Where's
glasses
mine?
on the table.
Damn. I always get left out.
So everyone sits down in your, what I'm going to call your French room or your living room. And what, you just start pouring wine for everyone?
Pour mine first, and then put the bottle on the table.
Okay. What's everyone do?
I'm just going to reach, grab a glass, and pour myself about one standard drink of wine. I go, oh. I sort of run my fingers through my curly hair a bit and just like sort of lean my head back after I'm done pouring the glass and have the bottle back on the table.
John kind of looks at everyone and says, No, thank you. I don't touch this stuff.
All right.
Terry,
I
let's drink.
Here's gold
Terry
refrigerator if
is
you
a
want.
spiritual man, but he's also a very deprived man. He's not passing up free good wine,
You know how many priests
but
are
neither is
spirituals
he
but
being very
alcoholics?
fancy about it. Yes. So, nothing fancy. Doom, doom, nice full glass going for
Okay.
it.
I
It's
want
not
one,
like the
Terry.
normal pour. He's like over pouring.
It's a little more than you should put in a wine glass. If my flair roll had been higher there, I would have let myself know a lot and been very fancy. But that's just bog standard mediocre. He pours a glass of wine.
I want one too, Terry. You let me have one?
There's not enough for that.
I'll let you take over later.
I threw a corpse at somebody for you. You owe me one.
I
I
can't
know, I appreciate it.
pick the glass for you, so not.
So at
We
that
got some
moment,
breathing noises there, Master. We're not sure what you said.
There's not enough glasses there for him to get a glass. He'd have to go to the cabinet to get those.
This is Mike we're talking about here.
Yeah,
But
that's my point. I don't.
I'm just
He's a
gonna
ghost.
take over. I'm
That's
just
the
gonna.
joke.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
If he
take
wants
over
a glass-
Terry and drink one.
Exactly. He gets the rest of my glass if he gets to take over my body, and we've got business to conduct first.
Yeah. After a moment of recovering from whatever that was,
yeah, John kind of looks at everyone and says, I'm not the only one who thinks that shit was crazy, right?
Meanwhile, Mike's still petting Gillard and saying, "My new best
I've
friend
seen
would
weird.
drink wine."
I've seen weird. That was some more of it.
Nothing about that was normal.
Nothing about that was normal at all.
So sorry about your shop.
Ah. I've seen weirder.
But
I don't think those bums are gonna be paying for our shit.
Were they bums? Terry, they were bums. No wonder they threw a garbage can through the window.
yeah. Well, now that we've somewhat recovered from having our lives threatened, apparently. I don't know what that was, but I'm staying away from you.
I honestly can't blame you.
the
I
one
wasn't-
thing I would say is for certain is I'm confident in that we need to stick together at this point.
Is that John? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna stick together, that leads me to my next question. I was actually looking for you earlier, Terry.
I happened to overhear.
A friend of mine ran into me and was asking if he could meet with you, and I was interested to see if you might want to join me for dinner so I can make the introductions.
Gillard,
My glass, like,
I won't lie to you. I'm a little suspicious of that. I don't exactly know many people here in New Orleans. I'm only recently arrived to town, but I owe you desperately. I would be glad to.
Terry, he's asking you out. Like, try romance, man. Come on. This is our new rich best friend.
it would be on me, of course. Public place, well, semi-public. Exclusive, but public.
Hey, my host could have a rich boyfriend. That's even better.
So, is this the best suit you own, or
My other clothing is
It's a glad bag. Tell her. Tell him. Sorry. Tell him.
is in a roach motel on the other side of town. And it's about the only thing sitting there right now. I can't say I'm too inclined to go back for it.
visible shudder?
Unfortunately, I didn't get dressed up when I died.
I'm gonna go over. I guess there's a phone in the penthouse, obviously. So I'm gonna go over to that, grab it, and start dialing a number while I walk back over to Terry, and then just call a number and roll my eyes.
Who are you calling?
I'm calling my old tailor. My new tailor lives in my house.
Okay.
So my old tailor runs the shop that I also own. I'm gonna hand the phone to you and just be like, just here. Tell him, here.
Oh, hello.
Paisley. Ask for Paisley. Everything. Crushed velvet, too.
So I have
Gillard, I can't exactly say I understand.
Paisley.
I have an arrangement with this tailor. He'll set you up.
And silk.
All right then.
And
Hello.
just a drink with a wine glass. He'll set you up.
Okay, so
No coasters because we're heathens.
we are heathens. Rather, it's easier for you to just replace the coffee table, really.
Yeah. Why bother at this point? I'm not keeping it nice for anything.
Somewhat bemused, Terry makes arrangements with a tailor for clothes.
Crushed velvet. Paisley.
He
And some
he
silk.
does not insist on crushed velvet, but his style does run to the slightly flamboyant. So this is probably like it's going to be like a blue suit with some pretty wide lapels, let's say.
So the tailor on the other end is gonna be like, are you sure about this?
He probably doesn't have that fabric stocked.
I wouldn't want to cause you any inconvenience.
tell you.
Obviously. This is
I
a
mean,
favor.
Barely.
we may have something like that in the back of the warehouse. It would definitely be in our clearance boxes.
Oh, get the seersucker.
I think I've communicated pretty well what I'm looking for generally, and I trust your instincts.
I imagine I know the answer to this, but do you know your measurements?
36, 26,
I can give him my
36.
height. So I give him the 5'9" height, and I tell him size small. I can give him the inseam in the waist.
Oh, goodness.
I'll see what we can do.
I do appreciate it.
Okay. He clicks
Dude.
the phone on the other end.
Terry, high five. You nailed it.
I put the hand out like low so it's not weird.
Yeah.
John, or not John.
John?
No,
Gillard.
Gillard. What do you do when you see like Terry hang up the phone and just kind of put his hand out, like he's asking for a tip?
Let me roll you,
But
because
I
it'll
don't-
be hilarious. Like, Terry's been interacting with Mike in public for a long time now. That's not to say he's good at it, but it does mean that he tries.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense to me.
I'm gonna roll you like a guile
It's like there's
to
something
see if he does it surreptitiously.
I don't-
Like he hangs up the phone, turns. So this is like you go hang up the phone and like you think you're being subtle with like giving a behind the back low five, but in the process,
still
like
just
your
weird.
hand is just like.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Are his nerves just shot, or is he like this all the time? Who knows?
We've lived alone together for too long, Terry.
I think in the streets they call him eccentric.
Yes, they call me many things in the streets. They are my native home.
So hopefully he'll hand me the phone back.
Of course.
That's our Terry. Whack in the streets and a virgin in the sheets.
So where we're headed, there's a certain dress code. Of course, you understand.
I have to say that I did guess.
Yeah, yep. With that in a few minutes.
So, Chance, can I, just for a judgment call, can I moderately alter my appearance just for Terry's sake?
Explain to me what you're trying to do.
Oh, I just want to have a drop dead Fred moment and put on like the tails and coat with the big lapels and everything.
Yeah, I'd allow it because right now, yeah, you're not trying to like interact with anything. It's all like what Terry sees is it's more what he sees is kind of more in his mind in most cases
Awesome.
because you
And
guys
John-
have this connection.
As your anchor, we got a thing going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes, we do.
And John sees him too, though, right?
Maybe a little.
He sees
You,
something.
you notice John's distracted half the time talking, but you don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird. I never did find out who Mike is. But
Do you ask that to Terry?
yeah. Who's Mike?
Who's Mike, Terry? Who's Mike?
Gillard, would you agree that what happened earlier was a little outside of the normal, perhaps?
Yes. I suppose.
Maybe even supernatural?
Slight eye roll. Sure.
I don't know if you caught it exactly, but our boy John here melted a man's face with some sand from his pocket.
Pretty sure I was halfway down the alley when that happened, so thanks for catching me up.
It was very impressive. It was awful. Thank you, John.
It wasn't really a sand. It was a complex formula. You don't care. It was.
Oh my god, I'm so bored I'm gonna die again.
Terry does care a little, but it's not his particular niche.
And he starts going into like the complexities of combining different chemicals together to create a high potency acid.
I don't understand it, but I'm interested.
Morgana is definitely interested, and she is like listening as best she can. Like,
Mike's
That's all
recreating
I
the most famous death scenes in Hollywood history from boredom. Oh my god.
Is that patented, or is it just kind of a...
You see, the Order of Saint Germain were alchemists. The core of our order are descendants from Jacques Saint Germain.
Alright.
We have
Are
very
you
little.
sure you're not related to the normal ones? They're alchemists too.
Whenever you're ready, there's a knock on the door.
Well, they were, I guess.
Well, you see, there was a division in our order.
Ah, yes. That does tend to happen. You could say I'm familiar.
Yes. We view ourselves as the purest.
So you're like the Lion Voltron instead of the Vehicle Team Voltron.
Exactly, Mike. Oh, right. That's right, Gillard.
So as you guys are talking, you just hear the.
Oh, wait a second. You have an elevator.
Yeah, there's the
He's
stairwell.
knocking on the elevator door. He didn't have the access code.
it's probably like a ding.
Yeah, there's a stairwell too, because of course there is.
I'm gonna go peek.
So he's knocking on the stairwell door
I'm gonna
because he
stick my face through.
rides the elevator up right until the floor below the penthouse, and he has to climb the stairs the rest of the way because he can't take the elevator the rest of the way.
I don't know if that's to the New Orleans fire code or not, but we'll allow it.
Probably not, but I just don't have any other way to enter the room and knock on a door.
So who's knocking on the door?
Uh,
I'm peeking.
The tailor, I'm assuming.
yeah, we'll call it the
Your tailor's not that fast. I'm sorry.
we'll call it for the tailor.
I mean, he's trying to figure out how to take this musty old suit that he had in a box from like 20 years ago and make it fit to a small.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if he's not allowed to have the suit ready, the runner comes in, looks at Terry,
He sent a runner to take Terry's measurements.
not just to look him over.
That's
Just to
professional.
eyeball him. And then he's gonna be like, meh.
So he knocks on the doors. You open it. It's
That's
the
a common
tailor's
reaction.
assistant, and he says, "I'm sorry, George says that he can't work in these conditions. He has to have the measurements."
So he takes a pen from behind his ear and a notepad out, and he looks over at Terry, and he's like,
He pulls out this cloth measuring tape,
yeah.
runs over to Terry, starts measuring his bust and his inseam and his waist.
Yeah.
I'd like to invoke my trouble
Oh my
on the
God.
tailor's assistant.
What is that? That makes people nervous?
The off-putting grace, yes. While he's taking my measure, he accidentally looks into my eyes for a little too long.
I doubt he would do that, but all right, I guess.
I have an effect on people.
No, he's compelling the guy. So I'll allow it. He starts taking the measurements a little faster than normal. He doesn't seem to be. It's Gillard. You kind of notice this isn't the same quality of work that you would expect from
this
your
outfit.
tailor's. Yeah.
If you're a very keen observer, you might notice that I am,
Creepy as fuck.
yes, that.
Slight furrow of the brow, but we'll worry about that later.
You heard what Terry ordered. It being a little loose or a little tight's not gonna throw things off much,
Yeah.
It won't be the worst thing about it.
right?
Shrug. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a perfect fit. I don't know.
All right.
I do
so,
not have perfect flesh to put it over.
So he takes the measurements. He looks at Gillard and says, "Georges says that it'll be roughly 2 hours before the suits are ready."
Check the time. Yeah, that should be fine. I guess.
So
First.
at any point, are you gonna like inform the other party that you're ready to meet?
After this guy leaves, I will. But
Okay.
I'm gonna like hand him a Benjamin and a handshake and be like, get to stepping. Hurry it up.
Get the hell out of my house.
I'm going to invoke phobophage on him as he's going out the door. I need to slurp up some fear and replenish some ectoplasm.
What's phobophage do?
It creates an aspect of terrified on the target.
So as he's about to head out the door, everyone in the living area just kind of hears him go, and he just books it out the stairwell.
Tasty.
I like to think he saw my face in a reflection that couldn't possibly have had my face in it.
Wearing
can't work that.
a drop dead Fred suit.
There. I just wanted to replenish a little
Okay.
tasty fear.
Back to my wine.
And back to my explanation. Mike is a dear old friend of mine. And he's dead, but he doesn't let that keep him down.
Wow.
I'm getting it up, Terry, all the time.
You were so choppy in there. I could not hear that at all, Master.
I said, wow, now I've seen everything. Or haven't seen, as the case may be. And so I'm just going to take my phone out and I guess text or email the other guy to let
Mike
him know
is
we're meeting.
Mike is confused and thinks she's trying to take a picture of him. He
No,
immediately begins to pose.
at the ground, so it wouldn't be taking a picture.
Oh, he's down there.
Oh,
He's posing. Duck lips and everything.
Oh my god.
All right. So at this point, you start to text the gentleman you had met earlier, and I'm going to say this is a good point to wrap up. We've already passed the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
So before we wrap up, I want to get everyone's input. We switched things up a little bit tonight versus the last couple of weeks. We got some more abilities to use some of your stunts. I was a little rusty and unsure of the rules. I apologize for it. I'll make sure I'm more clear for future sessions. What did you guys feel went well? What would you like to see different?
I feel like the initiative went pretty well, spatially.
Yeah, I know it's a lot looser than like just rolling for initiative.
Yeah, but it was clear whose turn was whose once we got into it, for me anyway.
Okay.
I just think that the distances could have been better mapped out, and since we have this thing with Roll20 where we can actually draw, it would have been nice to have something that we could see as to how the shop was laid out, like on the streets in this area of the town. Like, is it just like just off of a side street, and then
Okay.
it backs into an alley, and then how long is that alley versus where are we? Because that would have helped Morgana know that she had been overtaken by Terry when he rolled that 7 in haste, because that order would have been switched and he would have passed her up on the map.
I can
Good,
So I
actually.
knew that I was overtaken by Terry.
But when we got to the car,
The confusion came into me was like I thought that like once Terry had overtaken me, then whenever it came to my turn, that I dropped the glamour on John, and then like we ran, and like in the space of like my turn, we got up to the car basically after Terry did. That
Yeah,
was my
I'll work on
Yeah.
being a little more clear on that in the future.
yeah,
Actually, just pull up the street map of New Orleans for that, just to save yourself
Yeah.
some hassle.
Yeah, that would work.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't
because
have
one of the challenges in particular is, in classic fashion, everything that happened tonight, past the first like 15 minutes, none of it was planned out. I had a
And I
rough
would
outline of where I expected you guys to go, and none of it worked that way.
Oh wow.
I would say that I'm quite happy to be without the maps for that flexibility.
Right.
Because the maps are always like you get a little bit locked in to doing the things and visiting the locales that you'd already planned for.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying have a map like we have on our Saturday games or anything. That's like a thing that you can use to that has a grid and everything. I'm
I
just
just do
saying.
some scribbling on a map for
Yeah,
you guys.
Some script.
Yeah, and if anything, it's just using tokens to give like essentially a marching order.
Yeah, that would
A
be
little
it.
spatial awareness, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sort
Yeah,
of
I
like
can
what
do
we
something
did
like
with Night Fears in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could scribble together just rough squares and boxes and stuff like that to help out with that for sure.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at this green eyeball. It's like all I can see.
I actually
Eyeball.
I have a question for all of you. And of course, Chance, you as well. Is Mike too disruptive? Do I need to dial him back?
Nah, he's
Never.
doing his own thing. But I just think, I don't know. At this point, I'm trying to play him as I can't react to a lot of things you do because I can't see you.
But no, that's the joy of it. That's the joy of it. Like Mike acts out and is an ass all the time because he's been with Terry for so long, and it's his only form of entertainment.
He's used to performing for an audience of one.
Yeah.
So my irritation is with the current circumstances. It's not with the way you played your character, but I wish I could react to you, but I can't see you.
Oh no, I know. It's
So-
kind of beautiful because I do get to sit next to you and like pet your hair and everything, and
And one person knows.
only one
And he's
person
too
knows.
used to it.
And you see me running my hand through my hair occasionally, like just doing that occasionally because it's like a gesture that I do often.
Just that itch, like somebody's watching you, kind of.
I think my character looks exactly like this image, so I'm just kind of haphazardly running my fingers through my hair occasionally, just because it's the thing I do.
One of these
You
days,
cultivated the correct hair to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of these days, I'll talk Terry into cutting holes in his sheet, and I'll run through a room so you guys can all see me.
I was expecting you to, like, when I told everybody you were there, to just like show off and, levitate Gillard's phone or something.
It was tempting. It was tempting. Like I said, I almost possessed the corpse.
Yeah, I believe you. So we're good. I mean, I found
Although,
that
I mean, I could just possess Terry and explain it from Mike's perspective too.
True, but then they could just think I'm crazy.
Well, they probably already do.
I get it.
True, but they could also think I'm crazy and that I know a ghost if you levitate a thing.
True. True.
General notes. I am loving the Dresden verse system.
Okay.
Same.
I especially love the strong narrative drive of this particular setup of this campaign. It feels like easily the best part of it, even though I think, definitely of the time that I've known this whole crowd here, it's the best character design work that we've done.
Mm-hmm. It's the most
But
unique
just-
characters for sure.
That's
Yes.
surprising.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing terribly, but all right.
No, you're doing.
Yeah.
You've got a character that I'm thinking, and I've seen probably 2 or 3 times ever. Somebody who is a player character in a party of player characters and is just so unfathomably wealthy that they're completely socially disconnected from what the rest of the party does.
Accurate.
Which,
That's
which
rare.
It honestly gives me a really fun aspect to play on because Mike really does want a rich friend.
Yeah, and then Morgana, like I've wanted her to be like so eccentric and quirky, so it's just like nothing that the rest of the party does phases her. She can just sort of play off like, oh yeah, it's perfectly normal and natural. Just,
Yeah, I'm so busy checking on Terry, making sure he fit the dress code. I need to check on you guys too, because you can't go with that.
All of the plot hooks are so strong that it feels like writing when you do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When any of us do stuff, it feels like writing just because all of the forces are coherent and there, and we get to use them when we do things.
yeah.
Alright.
So,
Good.
strong vote of confidence from me.
All right.
I got
good.
to throw a corpse at somebody. And
Yeah,
a
and
dumpster.
that's Master, and I know where you're coming from because I think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier during the break of the rules aren't really the rules are defined, but what you can do is very loose, and it's really to an extent it's a limitation in your mind because the way the scenes essentially are set up is I create the scene and then there's aspects to a scene, and it's my job to try and communicate what the aspects of the scene are for you, so that way you have an idea of what's around you, so that way you can interact with it. And that's where the invoking aspects of it come in is say one of the aspects is so like you did a good job describing one of the aspects of your penthouse of having a former FBI professional doorman. that sets up an aspect. People, that doorman, you defined it in a way to where they have certain traits and aspects. They would react a certain way. If someone came in and tried to barge their way through or tried to bribe them, they would. There's certain ways someone would have to kind of invoke aspects to circumvent them.
Mhm.
So that's what I tried to do when I set up scenes. So like when I was describing the coming through the back alley, and you have it's a normal back alley. You have fire escapes, dumpsters, it's dirt, it's grimy. Those are things that you could come up and be like, I found a bottle because there's dumpsters. What would you find in dumpsters? Things of that nature. And then from there, you just got to figure out how to use something like that.
I just don't know if I'd be touching things in a grimy back out,
You wouldn't.
Right.
who I am, That's why it was so difficult for me to think about like grabbing something in this area. That's why I
So-
went like rebar that would do physical like repetitive damage on my side of things, or
So here's some things to think about for the next campaign, because the way the campaign is going right now is you're making an arrangement to take Terry to meet T.
yeah. I'm glad I got him. He's here. He said yes. We're going. We got this going.
Terry's glad to be here.
So
Great.
there's a couple of things to think in mind, like to keep in mind for the next game. Is one, are you taking just Terry? What's the rest of the group doing? Are they just going to stay hanging out in your penthouse? So keep that in mind. Are you splitting the party again?
I'm going with Terry.
Another thing to keep in mind is, what were these things that just attacked Morgana's shop? How did they find Morgana's shop? Why did they attack Morgana's shop? Like you kind of, from what John was talking about, you get a sense that they may be after Freddy, but you kind of got loose things. So those are kind of different avenues you can approach for the next one. And as your character, you have certain aspects you haven't used yet. You got certain underground connections. So would you automatically just take Terry to meet this new guy who had hired you 8 hours earlier? Or would you invoke some of your aspects, some of your contacts, do some cross-reference? Who is this guy? Setting up like contingency plans. Maybe you'll use your contacts or some of your money or wealth and set up a van to sit down a couple of blocks from the restaurant that you're going to, loaded to the hilt with automatic weapons, to where if another one of these things happen again, they come pulling up and just lighting up anyone who tries to take advantage of a situation. So those are ways where you can use your character's kind of background, but because of the way you design your character, you kind of have to use a little more pre-planning to an extent before you walk into a situation, because you're not someone who has power to draw on at the drop of the hat. And it's New Orleans. You can't just, I don't know, New Orleans isn't open carry, is it? You can't just walk around with an automatic.
It is.
Is it?
It's open carry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're definitely
Almost
not
lost the
walking
song.
into a fine restaurant carrying an AR-15.
No, especially not one with the dress code. And I had narratives planned for that if we had gotten to that stage. I had
Right.
people that I was going to plan to contact as we were getting ready to go there.
It's
But-
nothing to get a concealed carry license either.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
have people in place that I can call for that, so I can use my criminal favors thing if I need to. But I had stuff I was going to say for that when we got.
I'm actually looking forward to it a lot, because like a power broker meeting at a really fancy restaurant is the Gillard Power Hour. That is the most your environment I think it's possible for something to be.
Yeah.
Just let me take over for a minute.
I do have a question for you, Chance, just
Yeah.
out of curiosity. Because we're in New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
can I see and interact with other ghosts?
Mm,
Oh, sure.
interesting.
Yes, comma, but it's not a casual thing.
It's not a
the-
social club.
Right. Because generally, and there's different aspects to it, to where you could go to where, like, if it's the middle of the day, you're not going to find a lot of spirits roaming around. Hallows Eve, you're going to find a lot more spirits roaming around. So, like, if you guys were to visit it's like some of the major haunted points to it, you
The
may
Lolo room.
yeah, you'll see some of these people, but at the same time, a lot of times these spirits are carrying over into the mortal realm for a very specific action. They're not just roaming the streets. They're whatever caused them death or pain or whatever to be anchored, they're kind of repeating that in their head, and they're interacting with their circumstances in like an anchored location. What's unique about you is you're not anchored to a location or an item. You're anchored to a person.
Yeah.
Which I
that is
like,
pretty unique.
actually, because that Mike's a little more self-aware and cognizant than many ghosts
Right.
in the setting, but he is a bit more like the sort of ghosts that congregated around Mortimer Lindquist.
Yeah. And you're really more of a spirit than you are a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he dreams of someday becoming a terrifying apparition.
Right. The way I picture Mike is whatever ritual ended up killing Mike, it didn't necessarily make Mike a ghost as much as it released the anchors or bindings of Mike's spirit to his body. And it re-anchored Mike's spirit to Terry. But rather than inhabiting Terry's body or mind, you're just anchored to his body.
I like that. That makes perfect sense with Gnostic theology.
I was about to
Yeah.
say that actually. I was about
That
to
works.
repeat that.
Can I ask a quick question about the criminal favors thing?
Yeah.
Because it says 2 boxes provide 2 minor NPCs or a significant piece of illegal gear. What if I don't need the gear to be illegal? What if I just want one guy in a car to be outside the restaurant if I need to get out of here?
Give me an
Getaway
example.
Like, just have like a guy
getaway
that I have
driver.
as a contact as to be a getaway driver, but not in a stolen car. Because why? I could just buy it. I don't need to steal a car.
Is that car gonna have plates that are registered to you?
Not to me, no. It will be that car that the person that I'm hiring owns.
So
It would
for
be
all
registered legally to somebody else.
Yeah.
right, which
he owns it,
many
but it's
stolen
not
cars
stolen.
are registered legally to somebody else.
But it's not registered to someone else. It's registered to that guy, whoever I hire. It's not stolen. It belongs
That's
to
the
him.
payment
I bought
for
it
the
for
job.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I bought it
it's.
for him. He's there for my purposes.
I see where you're coming. I see where you're coming from, but it's kind of borderlining rules lawyering and letter of the law versus the spirit of it.
I mean, this is all I have, so I have to ask these questions.
In defense of Master Miss, that sounds like using money to do something that many people do illegally, quite legally, because you could totally buy a car, sign it over to somebody, and tell them, "You're going to be my getaway driver. Your payment is this car I just bought you."
Right.
handle
Sit
it
outside
easily,
the
like-
restaurant.
But I'm talking about it from more of a standpoint of kind of the way the sheets are set up is you're invoking an aspect. To invoke an aspect, there's typically some type of payment for it. Now, we can relook at your character sheet and make some kind of financial check boxes.
She has debt, I think.
Yeah, I have favor that I can use, and that's the main thing that criminal
Yeah,
favors.
in a case like that, then, since you're not using a criminal favor and you're hiring someone, I would probably say debt replaces favor in this case, because you're not, since you're trying to do it all legally, you're paying for it out of your funds. That would be more debt than favor.
So just mark indebted instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it's not even, you're not indebted to someone, but we'll go with it that route, because that's a little more fitting for what you're trying to accomplish. But it still accomplishes you're checking something off. You're not just, you don't have, while you're a 1%er, you don't have infinite funds. It's not unlimited ammo.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, so
it even makes sense the other way, because you think about it. You call in a favor to a criminal for a getaway driver. You're not getting a clean car. That's not how they do business.
Right.
Yeah. I guess I would think of trying to make sure that I'm safe first, So I'm not really... I haven't even decided what I'm going to do with the rest of you, Terry's going, that's all that I'm worried about.
The good news is we have 2 weeks to figure it out, because I have to draw up where the campaign's going now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You guys
I don't know if it's accidental or not, but you've done something that is very fun. To me personally, as Terry. You have put his 2 driving forces directly up against each other.
What do you mean?
The first, he is a Gnostic. He thinks that literal fleshly immortality is like the gravest possible sin. That would be the literal worst thing he can imagine.
That's by design.
But also, he's very polite, and John saved his life.
Yeah, we don't like John.
One thing, so when I'm trying to design in the campaign, is everyone kind of is at some point in time potentially going to come up with a moral dilemma or situation. I'm trying to create NPCs that counter everyone in the game in some way, to where
success.
Yeah, so they're at a point to where they're kind of an adversary. There's something about them that doesn't sit right with you, but there's also the moral choice of, well, they're not inherently evil. So certain situations may come up where you have to decide and make that moral decision of, like, the people you fought today. No one killed anyone.
Well,
but
John.
Well, John did, yes. But no one in the core party has ever taken a life before.
And it's funny you say that, because
Terry.
If Terry had actually come to any harm or looked like he was going to, I had already decided that in a rage of desperation, Mike was going to yank the jawbone off the corpse and ram it into the dude's head.
So I mean,
they're because and people don't see it now, and I hope I'm not ruining the surprise if it ever does come up, but Mike does have a very, very dark side. Underneath all the fluff, he is very angry and desperately wants to let it out.
I'm sure we will see it at some point in the coming weeks.
I like to think we have fled 2 towns, and both times might have been because of Mike.
Probably. Probably. I'm not going to deny that. Probably. That's why Terry's so wary to let Mike drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's like this, but there's situations. So, like, for all you're aware, these are humans. They may not be, but you have a couple mages in the party. If they use magic against humans, it opens up another dynamic because the White Council may get involved at that point. There's going to be personality conflicts to where T has things in common with Gillard, but they may or may not have aspects that kind of run counter to other members of the party. So while Gillard may get along with them really well, other party members might have objections or have had bad run-ins with these people in the past. So I'm trying to get it to where the group has to make decisions that can have long-lasting repercussions potentially down the road.
To, I guess, further inform your writing choices. As it stands, Terry, being a man who is firmly convinced of a higher power, would destroy the shit out of that box.
Okay.
Yeah.
He thinks he has this key for a reason, and now knowing what it's for, he is convinced that reason is because he has to stop this thing from ever being used.
And if you need to know this,
I'll keep that in mind for the meeting.
If you need to know what would happen if I got my hands on it, it's headed straight for a black market auction somewhere in the seedy underbelly of the city.
There's multiple avenues you can go, and that's actually kind of where I was expecting tonight's game to originally go.
Yeah.
You know what's
Trust me,
funny?
it's working out for me.
For those of you who may not have seen it, they're, I think for right now they're still set to private, but we've done what, three or four really Dresden planning sessions.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen those streams, once we get kind of to where they're no longer relevant to the plot, we'll put them to public, and you can actually go back and see what's gone into the planning up to the point. It might be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
watch
like
a couple of-
a
Yeah.
lot of what I've been doing, and Church has been joining some of these streams and helping out with it too, is so like Thursday I spent time kind of trying to workflow the story and creating a couple of different like branches to where like if then relations on things. And I was like, yeah, I think I got it covered to where in case they decide to do something, I got enough avenues. And then it's like, yeah, you guys, I had options A, B, C, and then like subsets for each of those, and you guys chose option D.
We chose the square root of 5.
It's like, I did not think of that one, but I am glad I created a handful of potential NPCs, points of interest, and factions very loosely that I can kind of just pull on and...
I do want to ask.
Yeah.
Did you expect Terry to be as slippery as he is?
Yeah.
No.
I would say maybe check
His
on the
stats are
settings
not
book,
great
'cause
for
I can
that, but
see-
God is on his side.
This is true.
I can see your Dresden Files accelerated building video from 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's all good. You feel free to
Yeah,
watch it. I just
I
no
don't-
power gaming.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
saying that if you set them to private, I'm not.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
On Twitch, they're not private. Church is the Hawk
Alright.
on YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah,
Oh,
the YouTube
okay.
link. Because
Right.
they
I
delete
don't know
off
if you
of
can
Twitter
set a
after while.
VOD to private.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'm not, especially with our group, I'm not worried about it.
Nah, we just chilling.
Right.
Well, plus,
And that's
you don't discuss anything really secret relevant to the
Right.
plot.
And
It's
that's some of the things I'm doing also is a lot of the things I'm creating in those sessions are things, factions, groups that at some point would be you'd interact with someone and have some means of gaining public knowledge of this stuff. So like each faction in the game has what I'll call public information, but then there's secret objectives for each of these people. And I do kind of that work off of stream, so that way not even Church, like while Church is helping me build out the New Orleans and giving me some really good ideas, even he's in a position to where he doesn't know the secret stuff, so that way there's little hooks and twists and turns that would throw him off even.
Oh, I have no idea about anything that happened tonight.
I didn't have anything to know about tonight either.
It worked out fine.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
there is the people you interacted with tonight are part of Dresden lore.
Mhm.
So I didn't just make these up. Those who are involved in the occult with enough research or resources might be able to piece it together.
Not
Just
me,
throwing
man.
that out there.
Mhm.
Not me at all.
All right. Any questions?
Terry probably couldn't.
Anything you'd want
Yeah.
to see in or prepped for next week's game?
I do have one thing.
Yeah.
You said look at 2 things before next session. Am I just taking Terry, or am I splitting the party? Are they staying in the penthouse? Is that one thing? That's one thing to look at, and then number 2
Well,
is
number 2
what
was
were these things?
like, what are you going to? There's the whole like prep of are you just going to stroll in and meet T, and are you going to be super trusting? If not, what contingencies are you setting up to be prepared? So that way, that's where some of your aspects and stuff can be used, rather than just being like, I'm going to use my aspect and just randomly some dude just comes walking around the corner and shoots someone. It's more of a set yourself up.
Is it better to plan ahead as far as how much it costs me in stress and conditions, or is it going to cost me the same thing whether I plan ahead or react to the situation as it unfolds?
Keep it, and this is where it's like you're quasi getting into DMing your own like character's future. Don't worry about the cost of things, because it's only going to cost you if you call on them. But it's more of a have some ideas, so that way if things go sour in this meeting, you feel more comfortable being like, hey, I want to do X, or I want to call on that. That way it'll alleviate some of the pressure of you having to try and think of it on the spot.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. So, first thing is the prep, and the second thing is trying to figure out what these things were. Is there a third thing I should look at?
I'm sure there is, but I can't think of it at the moment.
You might want to leave the trying to figure out who these things were to me, though, just
Right.
because.
'Cause I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be worried about it in the back of my head is how I was gonna play it, because I'm not too concerned now that the danger to myself is past, because that's
But you
where my
might be
priority
pissed
is
off
gonna
and be like, who were these chumps trying to take my life, right?
Yeah, it's going in the bank of annoyance at this point, because I've already been chewed out by this whatever Detective McIntosh or whatever his name was. Now there's these goons, these unspeaking, unmoving, faceless idiots that decide to break glass near my face. Near my face. You know?
You could
That's
almost
the-
say they've
that's
been
the
drained
money
of
maker.
emotion.
So so it's going into the bank of annoyance in my mind. That's where I interpreted his what were these things that attacked me type of deal. So,
Yeah.
Cedric's gonna
that's-
hear about this too, apparently.
And that's a good example of when we start the next session, maybe right after you get done calling and talking to T. That's the next call you make, is you reach out to one of your contacts and have them start doing some investigation, because it may come back to where no one else in the group can kind of piece things together, or maybe they have little nuggets of information, but your employees may have other pieces of the puzzle. And then when you connect all these together, it gives you a bigger picture of where to go, what's going on, so you're not flying so much as by the seat of your pants. Which I kind of like, the flying by the seat of your pants.
It is fun.
It's funny how
Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, it's funny how Terry and I are almost pre-planned, organized for moments of danger. Like the moment there's a sign of danger, it's like, Terry, we're gone, and there's never an argument. It's just like, yep, woo, gone.
We've been working together for a long time now.
That cracks me up.
For your characters,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas actual planning, 0.
0.
But I would say Gillard, even on a purely mundane level, with no interaction with the supernatural whatsoever, could do a great deal of digging in to what's occurred. You could reach out to contacts in the police and see if anybody was picked up for the enormous commotion outside of a Main Street shop.
Well, what I'm waiting for with
happened to the
Gillard
faceless body in the back of the alley?
A body. You could secure camera footage from nearby stores. A whole lot of things.
What I'm waiting for with Gillard is for us to finally prove that I'm real to him. And then to watch him as he gets nervous when people start looking at him funny. Like John.
So
Wait, he's doing it again, isn't he? Tell him to quit.
I do have a request for next time.
Yeah.
Just to, like, it might require you to do thinking about John. Before going to this meeting, I think Terry would try to have a theological argument with John.
Okay.
Because his personal obligation to John for having saved his life would go away if he can convince John that immortality is an objectively bad thing.
Okay.
And being a preacher, he would try.
I look forward to that.
Something
That'll
I
be
can
fun.
do while I'm just silently over here contacting people and setting things up.
I imagine it'll be a busy session with like several big events planned and Shewn back in town.
Yeah, and
Hopefully.
once Shewn's back, there's going to be I'm gonna have to figure out how to reconnect him with the group at this point, but I think I have a loose idea of how to do that. It's going to kind of depend on what everyone else does during the game. But the start of the game is going to also have it's going to, probably the first like 20 minutes is going to be like the Shewn hour of him escaping a certain set of circumstances.
Do you mind if I make a small suggestion that you don't have to listen to it all at all?
No, I'm open to it. That's why I'm asking.
So, since I've got Terry settled with the tailor, I was thinking instead of having the tailor send a runner back up to us to get his suit, we could go to the tailor's shop and then pass the animal shelter on the way. And then maybe Morgana could recognize Terry.
Right.
And that would lead to us having to immediately stop on our way to get the suits.
It's not a bad idea. It's all going to come down to what Shewn does.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like if y'all are y'all, why would you bring Morgana like to go get the suit, and like are you going to like go to the dinner right after you get the suit and maybe Terry changes in the car or something?
Right.
And what I would
Maybe
realize
he doesn't
is that I
trust
have
you alone
forgotten
in your
to make-
penthouse.
I've forgotten to make arrangements for you guys, and John just said that we shouldn't leave anybody behind. We need to all be together at the same time, right? So having forgotten to make arrangements for Hannah and,
That's just John's recommendation, and honestly, you guys haven't followed most people's recommendations in the campaign, so...
I'm not going to leave you here anyway. I mean, you're going to drink all my wine.
No, I mean, there's if the party, and that's the way I'm going to be planning for the next section, is I'm going to, and you guys are probably going to figure out some way to spoil it again, is there's option A of, here's the storyline if everyone sticks together, and option B, here's if they decide to split. If they decide to split, here's what each faction will kind of, here's their narratives as they split up kind of thing. So there's going to be options for you guys to do both. It's just going to be deciding after you guys talk, what do you feel's best for your character's objectives.
So yeah, ideally we would go to the shop to pick the suit up, since I can't plan to have you guys add it to this order.
The dress code is very strict.
Yeah, because you can't go in that.
We have 2 weeks to think about it, but no more conversing about it, because that'll be fun RP for next week.
Yeah, I should apologize for
That would
calling.
be funny.
I should apologize for for calling the congressman Cedric by his first name. That's not been approved out of character at all.
That's all right. I'm gonna wrap up the stream at this point.
Whoops.
No, it's all good.
Farewell, everyone.
I'm going to the stream is ending. No,
Yeah.
I appreciate everyone being patient with me on the rule set because it is different than what I've done before as well. So I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I'm glad to hear that everyone else seems to be enjoying themselves as well.
Oh yeah,
Guys-
big time. I love it.
Start getting ready for Star Wars too.
Yes.
Oh, Star Wars is happening?
Yeah,
Oh,
after the way I picture on doing this is that we're gonna do Dresden Files season 1, and then we're gonna do as after we finish this like book, I'm gonna do a Star Wars campaign.
But that's
Where,
not for us. Is it?
It's still up in the air. I gotta still get through the rules, figure out how many people. I may have a couple people from our normal group, but I'm gonna be opening it up, and we're gonna create like a form submission to try and get some. I don't want to say fresh blood, but some new faces.
Fresh meat. Fresh
yeah.
meat's good.
Some new people into our community. That way, if others decide to try to run games, or we mix and match, people have obligations, we can kind of move things in and out.
It's gonna be epic. Epic.
So,